Okay, welcome everybody to Bodies Mix. This video was meant to be recorded a long time ago, but I just got off into La La Land and tried doing too many things at once, and now I'm trying to bring myself back to normal, I guess you could say, and focus on the four charts that I wanted to talk about in the first place, and that is Axie Infinity, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Avalanche. And I'm kind of glad that I gave myself some time because it allowed for some of the charts to develop a little bit more, and I can probably get a little bit more into them as far as predictions go and where I think price action might be headed. So this is a smart money channel. If you don't know what that is, smart money is where we believe the charts are pushed by an algorithm. The people that have the deepest pockets are the one that push the charts. No, it is not controlled by you and me, who the little retail people who put in measly little dollars in here and there. It's controlled by institutions, right? It is their asset. They are going to make sure their asset is being either manipulated in a way that they can profit off of it, or just extremely exploding at the same time to where they can profit off it. Either way, whoever owns these assets, crypto assets, stock assets, any kind of assets, they are going to have somebody behind it, some people, some institutions that are going to control the algorithm. And any kind of triangle or trend line or bull flag or bear flag or anything like that is just mumbo jumbo. It's nothing. Price does not know that it's making a swirly or anything like that. Price knows price points. It knows when it's returning to those price points. It knows if there's imbalances and gaps and things like that. So that being said, without further ado, well, I guess I'd say if that is something that you're interested in, then what I would want you to do is go ahead, like this channel, subscribe. You will hear more from me, I promise, and you will hopefully enjoy what you like, so what you're going to hear. So if you've watched my channel before, thank you so much. I'm glad you're tuning back in, but let's head on over to these charts, shall we? Now, I know it's not popping up right now, but give me 1 second and I will have it on display. For some reason, I know I had it up, but it's not showing up. Weird. Okay, hold on 1 second. It will. I know it will. Weird. It is really not showing up. Hold on. Let's do this instead. 1 second. Aha, there we go. Okay. Yeah, one more thing I gotta do. I just want to bring the side in a little bit more because I feel like it's way too far to the right, and you can't even see the price. There we go. Okay, perfect. This is perfect. Okay. All right, so this is Bitcoin. So this is last night. I wanted to show you. I was talking about, especially on Twitter, about how there was equal highs ahead, right? And I was talking about how it dips when it dips down into into a discount area. It usually doesn't stay in that discount area long before it'll come back up and move up and out. And go above the liquidity point that it's already set with these equal highs. And so those equal highs that I'm talking about, I'm sure you can see that there's a big white line, but just in case, I'm just going to put that right there. So there are those two highs, and this is what I was talking about. And whenever I saw the price drop to down here, and then try to come back up, what I thought was okay, it's gonna take off now because it's probably gonna try to get above these price points. I knew it had hit a bearish order block, but and what a bearish order block is it's this candle right here. It's this green candle. I'm on a 15-minute time frame, by the way. It's your last up candle before your down candles move down and close below it. Therefore, whenever the candles would return to this area, it would actually reject it. Now the question is how far? I didn't think it would be very far. I thought it would be a short, maybe down to about a 40,200 or so, and then on back up, above, 40,800, maybe around 41,000. But instead, it actually did this thing where it dropped. Now, see what I put on the screen right now is what retail traders probably would have done, because if you look all the way over here, you have a low, and you also have a couple almost fairly equal lows too. So what some typical retail traders, especially if you're trading futures, you're noobs at it, you don't know what you're doing, you probably would put your buy limit right around this area, stop loss just below the recent low. Why? Because you think that is the support area. What does it do? It does what smart money does. It knows that's what you're thinking, so then boom, it drops right through it. And then as it's dropping through it, you're going, oh crap, I'm losing a lot of money, therefore I need to sell and try, because I think it's going to keep going down, and also try to make up my money, try to make up from what I lost just now. And then as soon as you sell, what does it do? Boom, goes back up the other way. Now it does eventually drop. Now what does it drop into? It actually drops into a 1 hour fair value gap, which is way over here, and it's hard to even see. But if you get into the 1 hour, basically in between two candles of the 1 hour price, there's just an imbalance there, a very small imbalance, but still there's an imbalance. And now the good thing about this is that it still didn't get below this low, and it still didn't get below this low. Therefore, we did not make any lower lows. Now, when I was tweeting about this, like I said, I thought I was going to go higher. Now, when I corrected myself on Twitter and I said, you know what, I got that part wrong. I wasn't looking, too hard at, the equal lows over here, the 4 hour fair value gap right here, and also the 1 hour fair value gap right there. I wasn't paying attention to those. So therefore you have basically a huge area that is an imbalance, and that would be this area right here. And I want to say that is a 4-hour imbalance, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, it's a very, very large imbalance. Yeah. No, I think it's more like an hour. Yeah, definitely an hour imbalance. So you can see hour from here to hour from here. You can definitely see that is where the last two wicks between the 11 o'clock hour happened. So I thought personally that it was going to take forever to fill up this gap, this void, not realizing that hello, it had already been in this spot before. And whenever you think about smart money, you got to think about market maker buy or sell model, right? And that is where price likes to act as a collective, be in a certain spot, move into a different area, and then do the same thing, but never be in the same spot twice, basically. So this thing rushed ahead, which thank God I actually had a long on this thing. This thing rushed ahead today, while just before I was getting to work, or while I was at work, and I took the profits, thank God. And as you can see, there is a 15-minute fair value gap that it did enclose. You have two spikes right here that kind of enclose this 15-minute fair value gap. So if I go to the 15-minute and I go back over here, you can see that there is an imbalance right here. So here is the wick from one candle, and there is the wick from the other. So that is the imbalance that I was thinking that it was originally going to go to after going above these equal highs, but instead it dropped extremely low. It took out a bunch of people. It almost took me out, but I was like, because I was actually in a long prior to this. I was in a long probably somewhere in here. Like right after it dropped down and hit this bullish order block is when I was in the long. Or maybe it may have been as it was coming up. I can't. Yeah, I think it was as it was coming up, because that would have been more like the time. This wouldn't have been the time. Yeah. So I had a long going on in here, and then that's when it dropped out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh well. I'm pretty sure a lot of people panic sold and freaked out because they had no idea what was going on, because they don't know about smart money. They don't know that price chases imbalances. They don't know that price looks after liquid or goes after liquidity. If you know those things, you know how to stay calm, because then you start looking where price is going to go next. And I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so now that's even more perfect for it to go higher. Why? Because it had already taken out the imbalances and the liquidity below. Now it's just got to go after the ones that I had originally thought of that were higher. So I ended up adding more to my position down here, and just had to go to sleep, do my thing today, wake up, whatever. I get to work right before, I think it was after my first break at work, which was right around 7:30. Yeah, so that would have been right around this time. Yeah, this makes sense. Because it was around 40,800. I was like, you know what? I was like, I might as well go ahead and take the profit, because I don't know if, and even though it shouldn't, I don't know if it's going to come back all the way down back to here. in this area because there is a fair value gap area here. Now, granted, this almost doesn't really count because it ran above these highs. So again, this is part of that area that is considered not really well, I'm trying to explain how to jeez, so many words and I can't even get them out of my mouth. It's not really considered part of the actual formation of the chart, I guess you could say, because price has already been there before. So now the only thing it's doing is it's breaking a high right here, and that is ultimately leading to the break of structure. So what does it do? It pulls back down into that high and then moves on up. So therefore, I'm thinking, okay, we're safe. And I'm still thinking we're safe. Why? Here you have a what I will call a breaker. Right, so a breaker is your last up candle before the down candles close below it, and then whenever price comes back through that area, it runs that area, right? And then once it runs that area and it returns back to that same area, that acts as support. So it did. It comes back, touches it, maybe midway, acts as support, boom, moves up, right? So now that's why I consider this a bullish breaker, right? And you can say the same thing about this here too, right? This is the last up candle before a huge down candle moves below it. And then this candle runs up through it. What happens? This candle comes down and it doesn't actually get outside of the body of even the wicks of that candle, and then pushes on up. That I consider bullish. That's why I would consider that a bullish breaker. Same thing for this guy over here. That's very bullish and a bullish breaker. You have these two up candles, right? And then they run right through it, come back down, halfway through, boom, push up, and then it's all basically containing within this 15-minute fair value gap right here. Now it did drop a little, but what it did is, if we take a closer look at this, is that it stayed basically at or above this order block. Now the order block is your last down candle before this bullish candle closes up and above it. You know, these two bullish candles, I should say, closes up and above it. So when it were to return back to that area, you would expect it to be support. Correct, right? So therefore, and even then, this 15-minute fair value gap, this orange big rectangle that I have right here, I can almost probably remove this because the price has already taken care of the imbalance. Now the question is where is it going to move to now? And I'm thinking above. Definitely above, mainly because whenever the price right here, as you can see, the green spike above hits this, I put this red dotted line here. Why? Because in the 15-minute chart, it is a bearish order block, and it's also been hit by other price action as well, to where it runs up to it, hits it, falls. So it hits it again, which means there's almost equal highs, right? So there's almost equal highs, just like there was right here. So what would you expect? You would expect a run above it. That's what I would expect. And you have almost equal highs right where we're at right now anyway. I wouldn't expect it to get lower. Multiple reasons, bullish, all these bullish breakers that are here. You have an action block that's right here. You have quite a few things going on that is just telling me that Bitcoin is a very, very bullish chart right now. So that's what I wanted to say about Bitcoin. I do see it getting up. Let me see. No, I mean, I remember putting a long in earlier and then selling it at about 43 something. That's why it says sold here, because that's the last time I actually had a previous long on Bitcoin and let go of it. But there is just massive amounts of fair value gaps and imbalances above here that can probably reach up into the 50s. As you can see, I have a daily fair value gap from way back in the day that spans from 50,500 to 48,000, and then you also have a weekly fair value gap that goes from 53 to about 51.8. So, and granted, where you're right now, it's still in the lower portion of that, where we at, somewhere in the 40,800 area. So we still got a while to go before we get into that kind of height. But I'm just not seeing it drop anymore. Because if I were, I mean, it would have to get below this golden line right here for me to really start worrying. And that golden line is somewhere around 31,000, or it's like 31,100. That is the last bullish order block prior to a previous bullish order block. That's basically been keeping this Bitcoin chart bullish, and a lot of people think it keeps going back and forth between bullish and bearish and bullish and bearish. No, the Bitcoin chart has been bullish, and bullish is all get out for the longest time. The difference is that either you're used to seeing stock charts and you're not used to seeing wild swings like this, or you're used to the foreign exchange market and you're not used to seeing wild swings like this. But if you are to look at Bitcoin and you look at the monthly, right? What does the monthly tell you about Bitcoin? That it's a bullish chart. You have monthlies that close above previous monthlies, and you don't have any lows that are closing below previous lows. So if you look at a larger time frame of Bitcoin, it's a very bullish chart. Don't freak out. And I saw some guy on the internet the other day say something about he's gonna panic sell, and I was like, dude, you're an idiot. Have you even really technically analyzed the Bitcoin chart yet? He had some kind of drawing and like how it was just gonna drop, and I was like, what is your like proving of that, you idiot. God, and I hate using derogatory words, but there's just some people that are on the internet that have millions of and thousands of followers that don't deserve it. I'm sorry, guys, but there are just some people out there that just don't deserve it. Okay, so anyways, that's enough of Bitcoin. Let's get on to Axie. Now, Axie is interesting because, okay, I'm on a 15-minute chart right now. It had been dropping for quite some time. Now, what I found interesting about Axie is that as it had been dropping, it had been coming back up, hitting bearish order blocks, dropping again, right? Until it finally got into a fair value gap. I think this is a 1 hour, or no, an order block, sorry. An order block dropped into it, bounced back out, and then came back up, hit the bearish order block again, came back in, hit the bottom of the order block, and then now we can see it finally coming back out. Now, what actually was good about me having, kind of time to just do whatever, was I drew this line straight across and I said, okay, here's two equal highs with this somewhat equal high. I said I want to watch and see if it's going to break that, because if it does, that's going to mean that there's bullishness and that there's a break in structure. And sure enough, we're on a 15-minute chart. This just happened within the last 30 minutes. So I'm glad I gave myself that time, because now we're seeing Axie Infinity in a mode probably going to be going up and up. And also, there was another line I drew just above that. Here was another one I wanted to watch right around 48.19, 48.16, somewhere around there, 48, something like that. I wanted to see if it got above that. And then there was a swing high here at 48.59. And as long as we keep seeing it, kind of continuously going up, I think Axie Infinity is going to start its bullish run. And then because it has hit these bearish order blocks on the way down, it's going to hit those same, you extend these out and it's the same thing. It's going to hit those same price points, but the price points have already been hit. Therefore, it's less likely to act as resistance toward the price going up. So therefore, hey, I think it's probably going to enter into this daily fair value gap, because the thing about this daily fair value gap that we have right now is only on one side did we see this daily fair value gap. On the other side, it dropped through, pulled up at the very bottom, and then dropped again. So therefore, there's a huge area above here that is still an imbalance, because boom imbalance, right? So a lot of it, especially where this 4-hour gap is, major area for price to want to be attracted toward to try to fill this imbalance. And that area is anywhere between 57 and about 85, 88, 90 cents to about $57, something like that. So that's and where are we at right now? We are at $47. Yeah, that's a pretty big area. So if you got the honeys to long this and to long it with some good leverage, hey, be my guest. I'm probably gonna do it, to be honest. But I think Axie will probably be up there soon. That is just my opinion. That's my take on things. It's already broken below, sell side liquidity. I think it's probably time for this one to get back up there again. And I'm thinking the same for the rest of them too. So I'm looking at Ethereum, and let me go with the 4-hour on Ethereum really quick because I gotta explain something. So the 4-hour on Ethereum, what we have here is you have another breaker situation, right? So breaker situation, it would be your up candles and then your down candles that close below it, and then your see all these green candles that run it, and then it comes back down into that same area. Well, it would be all of those green candles that would be considered your breaker. So I'm gonna delete this up down area right here, and what I want to do is kind of draw a rectangle around the breaker area. So this is, and even though this is another breaker area, it's actually the same one. I think I just drew it in a smaller way. Now, as you can see, boom, it hit the very bottom of that breaker. The very bottom of that breaker. And then, boom, moved on up. I mean, you can't get any more precise than that. This is the way the algorithm works. This is the way smart money works, right? I'm not just making these things up. I was mentored this by a great trader. He taught me all of these things, but he taught me these things in the foreign exchange markets and the equities markets. I brought this over to the crypto markets, and they're working perfectly. It works in every market. These traders, these people who own these assets, they know what they're looking for in the charts. They know how to push them around. You cannot get as close as this, as a breaker situation, to say, hey, these candles that went, up, and then it broke down below them, and then the price ran up through them, and then came back down and bottomed out at that exact same bottom of where those green candles started. It just doesn't get any clearer. That right there should be clarity that this is an algorithm, right? So, all right. So what's happening to Ethereum next? Good question. Looks like it needs to break above current highs, right? Because what it did do is it did dip down into the discount area of the chart. I mean, I see fair value gaps up in this area. It looks like where I drew the previous zero. And also a 4-hour fair value gap, which it's already, but it looks like it came inside, touched the top, and then came back out. So that tells me that in this area of this 4-hour fair value gap is anywhere in between 103 and 99 in AVAX. Sorry, I thought I said Ethereum. I may have said Ethereum, but this is AVAX, or Avalanche. So it should, I'm hoping that it does come out and get above these fair value gaps. I'm hoping, because Avalanche is definitely a layer 2 coin that is getting a lot of attention, that it deserves. It's changing a lot of what's going on. I think they bought US Terra, or was it Terra that bought a lot of Avalanche? I don't know, either or, but those two systems working together would be phenomenal. And Phantom, something like that. So Avalanche, what I'm seeing, I see, if I'm drawing the fib right now, I see the bottom here. I put the top here, but that's actually not the top. Why is it not the top? Because it did not pull down into a discounted area, right? So I'm going to put it at the real top. I put it at the real top. Discounted area is 61.8% and below. So it does drop down into that area. Stays just around anywhere in between 61.8 and about 80. That is perfect buy territory for smart money, right? And then after that, hopefully we'll see it take off, and we should see it get into this fair value gap. Maybe let me see if there's any more 4-hour fair value gaps over here. There's a small one right here. Yeah, you can see it. Looks like price barely even entered it. Somewhere around 109 to 110. And then you'll have to watch out for the bearish order block, but it looks like price action has already hit it. So around 113, it could get to there. I would, if you're in a long, look at taking profit maybe. And then we'll just have to see what goes on from there. But I think right now, Avalanche is in a good spot. So, so lastly, Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum, almost the same as I was talking about with Axie. I think having those equal highs, because I drew some equal highs here, and I was wondering, okay, if it breaks those equal highs, then it's gonna have a break of structure, and it should continue to be bullish. Right. Well, what just happened? And I think I'm in this is a 15-minute. So this happened earlier today. So this was okay. Okay, so it dropped down from there, but it still has the ability to come up and actually break those highs. With everything else having that ability and that being the possibility, I think that's what's going to happen. Right now, it is in a fair value gap zone that was created by a daily. It's easily looked like it has fulfilled that imbalance, and now I'm looking at other imbalances that it could possibly go toward. So I go toward larger time frames whenever I look toward that. And if I want to get rid of this daily, which I kind of do, because I feel like that daily is taken away from now. It did drop down into but this is also taken care of, to be honest. So you can see there was some kind of gap here or imbalance. It dropped down into it, pulled out, dropped down into it, pulled out, dropped down into it, went through it, went back up. I think we're okay with this imbalance going away. What I would be looking at now, there was an imbalance here, but it looks like it's already gone. It's already been engulfed by the current situation. So if we pull that over, boom. It's inside of it basically, so it's still filling the imbalance. That's the only thing. So it could bounce around in this imbalance for a minute. And what I have here is I have huge breaker written on this. So in case you don't see huge breaker, why I put huge breaker is because if you go to the daily, and yeah, I told you what a breaker was before, right? The last candle up before the down candle, and then you'll see the price drive through that area and then come back down into it, right? So the price here's the thing, it drove up into it, hit probably what was a bearish order block, dropped, right? And then ran through it again, and then it's now falling back down into this this breaker area. Now it did drop out, well, not really, it didn't really drop outside of this breaker zone. Only because I say it's the last candle up, even though these two candles together would be considered the last candle, basically. So that's it. Other than that, Ethereum is looking healthy. There is imbalances above, and I think it should be heading that way. So other than that, I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to go through. It's been 40 minutes of my time, so I should get off of here, and hopefully I was able to show you something new, something different, and check this out. Rewatch it if you have to, and remember to always wear your pants.